3 days of peace, love, and music. That's what Woodstock 99 was supposed to be. But instead, it became a scene of chaos, violence, and destruction, forever tainting the legacy of one of the most iconic music festivals in history. So how did a celebration of music go so horribly wrong? Today, we're unraveling the disaster that was Woodstock 99. What was meant to commemorate the original Woodstock spirit of unity and freedom instead turned into a festival that will forever be remembered for fires, riots, and greed. Let's get into what happened, why it went off the rails, and what the consequences were. Woodstock 99 was organized to mark the 30th anniversary of the legendary 1969 Woodstock Festival. It promised the same magic as the original, a collaboration of music, counterculture, and peace. It was held from August. However, times had changed, and so had the music scene. The lineup featured artists like Korn, Limp, Bizkit, and Rage Against the Machine, known for their high energy and sometimes aggressive performances. While the original festival was rooted in a message of love and anti-war, Woodstock 99 was being built on a foundation of commercialism and profit. The warning signs appeared long before the music even started. Woodstock 99 was held at a decommissioned Air Force base in Rome, New York, a venue covered in asphalt. Not exactly ideal for a festival in July. Temperatures soared above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and there was minimal shade for festival goers. To make matters worse, food and water were outrageously priced, with a bottle of water costing up to $4, around $7 in today's money. The atmosphere quickly turned tense as frustration grew. Bathrooms and showers were filthy, and by day 2, overflowing waste led to unsanitary conditions. But this was just the beginning of the festival's downward spiral. The music didn't help calm the situation either. With a lineup dominated by hard rock and nu metal bands, genres known for their raw energy and confrontational vibes, the festival's atmosphere quickly shifted from celebratory to chaotic. It was a stark contrast to the spirit of unity that defined the original Woodstock. Instead of acoustic guitars and messages of peace, Woodstock 99 was powered by electric guitars and aggressive lyrics, fueling the crowd's intensity. Korn's performance on the first night unleashed a wave of adrenaline, sending shockwaves through the massive sea of festival-goers. The band's thunderous bass lines and Jonathan Davis's guttural vocals charged the atmosphere with a near-maniacal energy, making the crowd swell and surge as if driven by a collective frenzy. People moshed and pushed against one another, their bodies colliding in a chaotic dance. But this was only a taste of what was to come. By the time Limp Bizkit took the stage the following day, the mood had darkened. The energy turned volatile, as if the air itself had thickened with tension. As Limp Bizkit launched into their infamous song Break Stuff, the crowd took the lyrics to heart. The band's frontman, Fred Durst, urged the audience to let loose and embrace the madness, shouting, "It's time to let it all out." And let it out they did. Attendees began tearing apart pieces of the venue, using sections of plywood as surfboards to ride over the crowd. Fences were torn down, barriers were smashed, and plywood walls were ripped to shreds as people vented their frustrations in a haze of aggression and adrenaline. Security was hopelessly outmatched, unable to control the thrashing crowd that seemed to grow more lawless with every passing minute. The scene took a darker turn as the festival wore on, but the true chaos erupted on the final day. Tensions that had simmered in the searing hot days reached a boiling point. When the Red Hot Chili Peppers took the stage for the closing performance, the crowd's energy was both electrified and explosive, an ominous mix. The band's set was meant to be a grand finale, a high point to send festival-goers home on a euphoric note. However, it became the spark that ignited the powder keg. As the band played a cover of Jimi Hendrix's Fyre, flames started to appear across the festival grounds. What began as small bonfires, fueled by the remains of trash and debris scattered throughout the venue, quickly grew into raging infernos. Entire sections of the grounds were ablaze, casting an eerie orange glow over the chaotic scene. The fires burned hotter, emboldening some attendees who saw the flickering flames as an invitation to wreak further havoc. Bonfires turned into firestorms as festival-goers set vendor tents ablaze, toppled lighting towers, and smashed equipment with a reckless abandon. The festival's infrastructure crumbled under the onslaught. As pillars of smoke rose into the night sky, it became clear that the organizers had completely lost control. For some, the destruction was cathartic, an outlet for their pent-up anger and frustration. For others, it was terrifying, a descent into a hellish landscape where the normal rules no longer applied. Amid the chaos, stories of looting emerged, and reports of assaults echoed through the grounds. The once promised paradise had transformed into a lawless zone, where fear and danger lurked around every corner. Security personnel, vastly outnumbered and unprepared, could do little to restore order. It wasn't until law enforcement and riot control teams intervened that the mayhem was finally quelled. The festival grounds, however, were left in utter devastation, a grim reminder of what had occurred. When the dust settled, the remnants of Woodstock 99 looked like the aftermath of a war zone. Trash and debris covered every inch of the grounds. Tents lay abandoned or trampled, and structures were either burned down or shattered beyond recognition. The air was thick with the stench of smoke, sweat, and spilled beer, mingled with the faint remnants of the chaos that had unfolded. Reports soon poured in detailing the extent of the damage, not just to the venue, but to people as well. Dozens of attendees reported injuries ranging from minor cuts and bruises to more serious harm, including cases of dehydration and heat exhaustion, a result of the sweltering temperatures and lack of affordable water. Even more disturbing were the allegations of assault and sexual misconduct that surfaced, as the festival's breakdown in order provided cover for some of the worst human behaviors. In the aftermath, Woodstock 99 faced a storm of criticism, as journalists and attendees alike condemned the event for its lack of organization and utter disregard for safety. Multiple lawsuits followed, targeting both the organizers and the companies involved in the festival. Claims of negligence, insufficient security, and price gouging led to a legal and public relations nightmare. Woodstock 99 wasn't just a failed festival. It became a symbol of corporate greed overtaking the values that Woodstock once represented. The legacy of the original 1969 festival, an emblem of peace, love, and music, was tarnished. In its place, Woodstock 99 became synonymous with chaos, anger, and destruction. It wasn't just a disappointment. It was a betrayal of everything that the Woodstock name had stood for. To understand how things went so terribly wrong at Woodstock 99, we need to look beyond any one factor. It was a perfect storm of bad decisions and miscalculations that came together to create a disaster. The location itself, a decommissioned Air Force base, was ill-suited for an event of this kind. The vast stretches of asphalt turned the venue into a heat trap, with temperatures rising above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. As the sun beat down mercilessly, the lack of shade or proper cooling areas made conditions nearly unbearable. The overpriced water only added to the frustrations, as attendees were forced to pay inflated prices for even basic necessities. The aggressive lineup added fuel to the fire. Booking bands like Korn, Limp Bizkit, and Rage Against the Machine, known for their intense performances and songs that channel rage and defiance, was risky without adequate crowd control. These bands' music often acts as a cathartic release for listeners, but at a festival already marked by poor conditions, the high-energy acts seemed to fan the flames of an already agitated crowd. Security was underprepared for the scale and intensity of the event, with far too few personnel to handle the 200,000-plus attendees. The lack of adequate crowd control and safety measures allowed the situation to spiral out of control. What truly set the stage for disaster, however, was the organizers' decision to prioritize profits over basic amenities and safety measures. Festival goers were squeezed for every penny, from the steep ticket prices to the overpriced food and water. This focus on maximizing revenue came at the expense of adequate facilities and emergency planning. When frustration boiled over and the fires began, there was little anyone could do to stop the disaster from unfolding. In the end, Woodstock 99 was less a music festival and more a cautionary tale about what happens when greed overshadows the safety and well-being of the people. The fallout from Woodstock 99 was significant and far-reaching. It sparked widespread discussions about the ethics of festival planning, the responsibilities of organizers, and the exploitation of music culture for profit. Many festivals that followed took the lessons from Woodstock 99 to heart, implementing stricter security measures, better crowd management practices, and more attention to attendee comfort. The way music festivals are organized today, emphasizing safety and preparation, owes much to the lessons learned from the failures of Woodstock 99. The Woodstock brand itself, however, never fully recovered. Attempts in subsequent years to revive it, such as for Woodstock 50, failed to materialize as the shadow of Woodstock 99 loomed too large. It became a case study for disaster in the music industry, a grim example of what can happen when commercial interests outweigh the festival's core principles. Woodstock 99 serves as a sobering reminder that the ideals of peace, love, and music can be easily overshadowed by greed, poor planning, and negligence. It was not just a festival that went off the rails. It was a wake-up call for the entire music industry, signaling that music events must prioritize the safety and experience of their attendees over the desire to turn a profit. For the 200,000 people who attended, the promise of an unforgettable festival was fulfilled in the worst possible way, leaving behind memories not of unity, but of chaos. For the music world, it became a cautionary tale, forever reminding organizers that without proper care and consideration, a festival meant to bring people together can quickly turn into a nightmare. What do you think? Was Woodstock 99 doomed from the start, or could it have been saved with better planning? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell for more stories that shook the music world.